you've ever polished your headlights thinking a bit of compound and some scrubbing would do the trick, you might be making the same mistake as 90% of people. That's why your lights get cloudy again just a few days later. Online, you'll see all sorts of tricks: toothpaste, cheap polish, 5-minute solutions. But why does a professional garage spend 30 to 45 minutes per headlight? The answer lies in a layer you can't even see. Headlight covers aren't just plastic. On the outside, they have a factory UV coating that protects the lens. After a few years, this coating gets brittle, turns yellow, and breaks down. That's the layer you must remove before polishing can work. Most people either skip sanding or start too high with P2000 grit. That won't remove oxidation. You need to start with P600 or P800, depending on the condition, and gradually refine the surface to achieve real clarity. This headlight hasn't been polished in over 5 years. The UV coating is severely oxidized, and the surface is rough and yellowed. For lenses in this condition, we start wet sanding from P600 to aggressively remove the damaged layer. If we skip this step and start with P1000 or higher, the oxidation will remain underneath, and the clarity won't last. You can clearly see the yellow runoff. That's the failed UV layer breaking down. Correct process: wet sanding with P600, P1000, P1000, P2000, compound polishing, and finally, a UV protective clear coat. Now let's do it the right way and see what happens. After carefully sanding through each layer, the surface is now free of oxidation and yellowing. One common mistake is rushing into polishing before the surface is properly prepped. Now that it's truly ready, let's move on to polishing, the step that brings back clarity and depth. Polishing isn't about cleaning, it's about flattening the surface. After sanding, the lens still has thousands of microscopic scratches left behind by the sandpaper. Polishing uses a fine compound and steady pressure to level out those scratches, restoring a smooth, clear surface that reflects light more evenly. But this is also where many people go wrong. Common mistakes: using a pad that's too aggressive or spinning too fast. This can overheat and melt the plastic. Not cleaning off leftover sanding dust. It mixes with the polish and scratches the surface again. Using the wrong type of compound. Too aggressive and it cuts too deep. Too mild and it does nothing. The key to polishing is not speed. It's control and precision. At this point, you might wonder, why does the headlight suddenly look so clear? It's not magic. It's the compound doing its job, leveling the surface, restoring depth, and letting light pass through evenly. Cut to close-up, Ang Sang Fan line. Most people stop too early, before this moment. But clarity only happens when you finish what sanding started. And now, we're almost there. Ever wonder why we're polishing in multiple steps and using more than one compound? It's because not all scratches are the same. The deeper marks left behind from sanding need a heavy-cut compound to smooth them out. But if you stop there, the lens will still look hazy, with fine swirl marks. That's why we follow up with a finer polish, the finishing step. It's just like sanding wood or brushing your teeth. Clean first, then polish. Each stage brings the surface closer to clarity, from dull to clear to crystal. And the more precisely you follow each layer, the sharper the light comes through, just like when it left the factory. Polishing headlights looks easy, but 90% of people get it wrong. They skip grits. They rush through sanding. They don't clean between steps. And then they blame the polish when the clarity doesn't come back. But polishing isn't magic. It's process. Proper prep, the right pressure, and patience. That's what restores true clarity. So next time, don't just rub and hope. Know what you're doing and do it right. Your headlights and your night vision depend on it. If you found this helpful, give it a like and share it with someone who needs clearer headlights. Subscribe for more real garage fixes.